If this, else that. Usually in my videos, we reviewed something before going on to what we are learning today. But today, there isn't much to review about. We already know how for loops and lists and all these other functions do. But today, we're going to talk more about if and else statements. We're going to learn about functions that do certain things to help improve things in Python. The functions we'll be using is called lower and upper. We're also going to learn how to write an if-else statement in a for loop. And lots more about these if-else statements. But before we go on, we're going to review on what an if-else statement means. If-else statements are basically statements that do something afterward. You use if-else statements when wanting to do two different things depending on the one answer for one question. Let's say you ask a question to the user like, do you want to continue? If the user says yes, then continue, else exit. In this situation, you need to use the if-else statement. The if-else statement can be used in many other cases too. This situation is just an example. So let's start learning more about these if-else statements. So we're going to begin off by making a list called foods. Foods holds the strings cake, ice cream, pasta, and burger, let's say. And we're going to create an if and else statement in a for loop. We're going to say for food in foods, if food, let's say cake in this case, is equal to cake, then print food dot upper. Now what is this doing? Well, what this is doing is first it finds a food in foods. The first time it will be cake. So it says if this food or cake is equal to cake, then print everything uppercase. Dot upper basically means turning a normal cake into cake. And dot lower means turning cake into cake. So when we do print food dot upper, if only if it's cake, then make it everything uppercase. Otherwise, so else print food dot title. So only the first should be capitalized. Let's run this. So yeah, because it was cake, it uppercased everything, and for the others, they just titled. Now, we're going to learn more about not equal to. What is this not? How do you say not equal to? We've learned about saying if food is equal to cake, but what if food was not equal to cake? We're going to do something called requested toppings. That's going to be a variable. And the requested topping, actually it's going to be topping, is, let's say, a mushroom. So we're going to say if requested topping is not equal to, so not equal to, you have to put an exclamation mark and an equal sign. So is not equal to olives, then print do you not like olives? Else, so if it is olives, then print great. I love olives. There. And if we run it, it should print, do you not like olives? Yeah, do you not like olives? So if you want to not always use equal equal, or say if food is equal to something, you can always do if something or variable is not equal to. So I'm going to make a comment here. Not equal to, you have to say it in Python with an exclamation mark and an equal sign. Equal to, you have to put just 2 equal signs. So now we're going to talk about numerical comparisons. What if we wanted to compare two numbers? We know that in math, when we compare two numbers, we say it's greater than, less than. But how do we code that in Python? Here it is. So let's say you're doing some type of game, and the answer is 33. So you're going to put if answer is less than 50, print it is less than 50. Else, print it is greater than 50. So what does this do? Basically, your answer is 33, and if your answer is less than 50, it prints it's less than 50. Else, it prints it's greater than 50. This is useful when making small games with, like making guessing games. You can always say it's less or greater, or it's the same thing, or you got it, something like that. It'll help. But what if I put my answer as 50? What would happen? But first, let's run this. So it prints it is less than 50, which is correct. What happens if I put 50? It said it is greater than 50, but 50 isn't greater than 50. It is 50. How do we solve this? Well, it's actually super simple. I'm going to copy and paste this. So in this time, we're going to say another thing. We're going to say elif. I'll explain this near the end of my video. Elif is literally the same thing as if. So we're going to put elif answer is equal to 50. Print it is equal to 50. This is one way to do it. Another easy way to do it, I'll show you in a sec, but first let's run this. So it says it is equal to 50. Now, you don't need this elif. You can put it is less than or equal to. And why is this? Well, to make something equal to, you have to put if answer is less than or equal to 50. You can also put if it's greater than equal to, and things like that. But you always have to have your equal sign afterward. So when I do this, it should print it is less than or equal to 50. See? So this is about numerical comparisons. Now we're going to talk about some fun with rides and multiple conditions. So there's a ride in town, and one person, there are some requirements you need to have. So one person's height is 6, and let's say their weight is 70. And only if their height is greater than or equal to 3, and the weight has to be greater than or equal to 60, then you may only go on the ride. So How do we make sure that this person can ride? This is how. You can say if height is greater than or equal to 3. Remember, our equal to is always a second. Equal to 3. And. Now, and is another vocabulary word we use. You can say and when you want to do two different things. We wanted to check for our height and weight. So we can put and. We can say, and weight is greater than or equal to 60. Print great. You may go on the ride. Else, if they don't succeed in both of these conditions, where they don't, there aren't that height or not that much weight, then else, print sorry, you cannot go on the ride. And if we run this, it'll print great, you may go on the ride, because both of the height is greater than 3, and this 70 is also, the weight 70 is greater than 60. But if I put something like 50 as the weight, which is less than 60, it'll say, sorry, you cannot go on the ride. See? There's another ride in town. It's called ride number 2. And in this ride, there's also some circumstances or things you have to have, or height. So there's another person, and their height is 6 as well, and their weight is 58, let's say. And so this ride is a bit different than the last one we did. This ride, you have to have a height greater than or equal to 3, or have a weight greater than or equal to 60. So you can have either one. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So if our height is greater than or equal to 3, in this time, we're not using and, but we're going to use another vocabulary word called or. Now, in this and or literally mean the same thing in Python and what they do in the real world. Or means two different things. You put this or that. And means this and that. So you can put or and then put weight is greater than or equal to 60. Print great. You may go on the ride. Else, print sorry, you cannot go on the ride. So what is this doing? Well, since we put or instead of and, it's a bit different because you can have a height, you can have the good height, but you don't need to have good weight to go on the ride. For this one, you have to have good height and good weight. So it doesn't work like that. To run this, we're going to just do something small here. Instead of our weight being higher or good in weight, we're going to put it good in height and bad in weight. So let's say we put the weight as 40, which is way lower than the circumstance of weight. But we're going to also put this one as 40. But you can see that both of them will print different outputs. One of them will say, sorry, you cannot go on the ride. The other one will say, great, you may go on the ride. See, it says, sorry, you cannot go on the ride, and great, you may go on the ride. Why is it doing this? Well, because in this one we used and in this one we used or. That is the main difference. In this one, we have to have both of these. In this one, you can have this one, a good height, but you don't have to have a good weight. If you have a good weight, you don't have to have a good height. You can have both. You can have one or the other. This one, you have to have both these. You cannot go on the ride if you don't. So that's about multiple conditions. Now let's say there's something on the web and there's a game and there's some banned users. These banned users, there are a list of them. And their names are Anne, David, and Carl. And the user who's going to play, his name is Mary. Let's say. And we're going to create something that makes sure that this user is not in banned users and they can play the game. So we can say if user is not in banned users. Now I'm going to pause. What is not in? Every time we did an if-else loop, we always did something like greater than or equal to, and things like that. But this is just plain words. Well, if you want to say, if you have a list and you want to see if something is in that list, you can always use not in. You can say if user is not in banned users, then do something. And this is going to be perfectly fine. It's going to work and everything. So we're going to print, we're going to say user.title plus you are welcome to play. What this is doing is like our user is Mary, so it's going to say print Mary. So it's going to be Mary, you are welcome to play. Else, if this was, let's say, Anne, and Anne is in the banned users, then we can say else print user.title plus string you aren't allowed to play. And done. So we're going to first try out one person who's not in banned users and see what's happening. So first it prints, Mary, you are welcome to play. So Mary is welcome to play. But what if I put Anne? It says, Anne, you aren't allowed to play. So it doesn't work. And that's good, because in this case, it shouldn't work, because banned users is one of them, Anne. Now I'm going to talk about Elif. We know that Elif is kind of like if, but we haven't really learned a lot about it. So we're going to learn this. Let's say age is equal to 12. And you're going to another ride, and there's, let's say you're going to a movie actually, and there's some price you need to pay, but no one knows what. So we're going to create a program that tells you how much it costs. We're going to put if age is greater than 4 in a movie ticket, the movie price would be $2. Now we're going to use else. Else price would be 10. Now, usually there's like 3 or 4 different categories. So we're going to put Elif. We're going to say Elif. Now, Elif is nothing different than if. You just have to put the EL. And but Elif, age is less than 18. Price would be 5, let's say. And you can add as many elifs as you want. You can put another elif and it'll work. If elif age is less than 25, price is 7. And else price is 10. And so when you say print your price at the end, it should print $5. So yeah, it print 5. And you can try as many numbers as you want. You can try random numbers like 1 million. It's probably going to be 10. Yeah. And then you can try small numbers like 2. It's probably, the price will be 2. And you can try many more things and it'll work. So elif is just the same thing as if, except you put your L. And you can use it as many times as you want. So that's it. So that's the end of my if else statement video. Thanks for watching. Bye.